I had a very boring health history. Nothing wrong with me. In fact, my growing up years, I was the one that wanted to eat salad, and my brothers were eating junk food, and that was all okay for them, but I really, really, really wanted to go the nutritional route. So cancer was never on the horizon for me. After being married for over 10 years, I found myself with sudden abdominal pain on November 22nd of 2013. My doctor thought it was gallstones, and I'll never forget what it was like in that room where everything is white all around you, and I was just laying there wondering what was wrong with me. They had taken me into an ultrasound. It was 3:35 in the morning when you heard the click, click, click of the doctor's shoes, and two of them came in and just looked at me and said, I'm sorry to say, we think you have cancer. To say that it's a shock when you hear the word cancer attached to your name is true for most people. But in my case, in the ER room that night, it felt like time just stopped. And I wondered how that could have happened to me. I spent that Christmas feeling that I wasn't really in the room watching my children open Christmas presents. I kept wondering if it was gonna be my last time, my last Christmas. And instantaneously, I'm thinking, how's Steve gonna raise these four babies? 4 months old, 1 year old, 3 years old, 5 years old. The 3 youngest didn't have a clue. We were still breastfeeding Sammy. I only remember looking at how little Sammy was. But our Luke, and I remember him asking me questions in the hospital room that I couldn't answer, and he was 5. Mama, what's wrong with you? Mama, what's gonna happen? Mama, when are you gonna come home? In a slow-growing form of lymphoma, their words to me were, this is not curable. So I began to have some doubts of, okay, I know they said 90% slow-growing lymphoma. What about the other 10%? What if they're wrong? We decided to go through the whole diagnostic process to be sure that this really is the kind of lymphoma that they say. So we did that. It was confirmed. We heard the latest options, which were no different. You have 5 cards to play, Lisa. 5 cards. You play your first one, cancer's gonna grow back. You play your second one, it's gonna grow back. You get all the way to 5, all we can do is hope that we have something else to give you then. And they even said it would be an option to watch and wait until I'm debilitated to the point of needing treatment. That was an option given to me face to face with the oncologist there. So about 1.5 years after I was diagnosed, and I was nauseous and queasy most of the time, we agreed to 1 treatment every 4 weeks of an immunotherapy drug and 1 chemo drug. And I was there for every 4 weeks for 5 times. And as we neared the end, I had a point where I looked at Steve and I just said, honey, I have a hard question to ask you. I said, this doesn't feel right for me, but I know that it seems right to everybody else. So I just asked him and said, would you support me if I chose not to do this anymore? He looked at me and he said, I support you all the way. I love you, and I know that God holds your life, and it has never felt right to me either. Once you get diagnosed with cancer, somehow the supplement companies find you, and then you get on everybody's email list. So I ended up usually deleting 50 to 20 advertisements, just really tired of hearing this supplement, this supplement, this supplement. But there was one that caught my eye, and it was because there was an article about the left spin sugars, and it had to do with fruit. And one of the things I had learned early on is, okay, well, don't eat fruit at all. So this had my curiosity piqued because I saw it and said, wait a second, fruit's okay? I miss fruit. So I clicked on the website link it gave to learn more about this doctor who wrote an article about fruit, and I came to Hope4Cancer's website. And I was reading about all of the different therapies there, and in my heart I thought, I wish I could go. So I went to the clinic in Mexico. I had a lot of support from family with my young children, and we weren't really sure what we were gonna find out. What was different about my experience there compared to previous ones I've had is I was busy from the beginning of the day to the end of the day with all of these things available to me to help me. And I learned so much while I was there that I was able to take home with me. The recommendation was to wait 3 months, 2 to 3 months before getting an MRI. And so we did. I went back home to be on the home program and I actually had no idea of any results of how I was doing physically. But I can tell you that my heart and my mind and my energy, all of that was better. And as I looked back at the years leading up to cancer, I can see a lot of times when my heart wasn't at peace. I did lead a pretty busy life, having 4 young children. All moms know, having 4 children in and of itself is tough. But when you have a husband, he was traveling some, I can tell that how I handled emotions wasn't the best. And that was something that in my journey with Hope4Cancer that I learned was to let go, to find those areas that I was still holding on to what I wanted, what I was afraid of, and just let it go. I used to go to the grocery store and be jealous of the moms who were more concerned with cooking dinner than cancer. I had to learn how to be still. That was one of my hardest changes that I needed to make, is that I realized I was always going, always doing something. And some people would say, that's good energy. You're passionate, Lisa. It takes going through something hard to appreciate when things are not as hard. It's part of what makes it more beautiful. We don't coast through a day that has gone well unappreciative of it, because Steve and I will look at each other and say, this was a good day. After January came of 2016, we're in 2016 now, when I had my next MRI, and that was my first 2 thumbs up, the best news you can get on MRI, unremarkable. I remember staring at that piece of paper thinking, is this mine? Wait, is that my name? Really? I went and showed it to Steve and said, tell me this is your wife. Is this me? He looks at it, Lisa Engelman, age 37. There's no swollen lymph nodes. There's nothing. They can't find anything to say anything about. This is a type of cancer where the oncology world will never use the words cured. They use NED, no evidence of disease. And that's the best stamp you can get on your medical papers. And now I'm coming out the other side, going forward with 1 year of being unremarkable. Cancer was used to change me as a wife and a mom. It's one thing to talk about having hope. It's another thing to look at it. Hope is something that it's almost like the weapon against fear. Fear tends to freeze you and put you in one place. You don't take that next step forward because you don't see any options out there for you. And when you see somebody who has gone through something hard and you see them come out the other side and you see them as a changed person, it's easier to look upon it and say, hey, it happened for them and it can happen for me. My name is Lisa, and I am Hope4Cancer.